Founder and CEO of Turning Point USA and the author of the new book, The College Scam. So, Charlie, do you accept the View's apology?
I mean, regardless of whether or not I accept it, the question is, do our students accept it? That's really what's at heart here. They went after our 5,000 students at our event there of high school and college kids. And look, I get attacked all the time. People say false things. I'm a public figure. But when you go after 16 and 17-year-olds that travel from across the country that then have to live for the rest of their life with a shadow over them because someone at 8...
Sunny Hostin just lost it, live on national TV. One second she was composed and in control, the next, boom. Full-blown meltdown, triggered by none other than Charlie Kirk. It was so intense, even the audience didn't know whether to applaud, cry, or call security. This wasn't a debate, it was a takedown. Sunny's arguments crumbled faster than a cheap phone case on concrete. Charlie didn't just win, he steamrolled. She was left stammering, sweating, and scrambling for words. Like someone trying to find Wi-Fi in the wilderness. Let's be real. This wasn't a conversation. It was a televised execution. There are meltdowns, and then there are iconic implosions. Sunny's latest spiral wasn't just messy, it was a masterpiece. The kind of crash and burn that deserves its own mini-documentary, a YouTube reaction, montage, and maybe even a mural in Times Square. The way she unraveled, so emotional, so dramatic, so complete. It was almost elegant. Honestly, put that moment in the Smithsonian under When Talk Shows Go Wild.
Disgusting, gross elitism and her complete out-of-touch nature with respect to the rest of the world. Sunny Hostin goes on The View and decides now would be a great time to dump all over the so-called uneducated.
What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men, actually, voting more for him. And you have, and black men was not the story. We're not the story here because they voted almost 80% for the vice president.
Right. Just because you didn't go to college doesn't mean you're stupid, and it doesn't mean that you don't have wisdom. You can go to college and get a bunch of irrelevant...
Sunny didn't get ambushed. No surprise guests, no hostile crowd, no shouting match. Just the ghost of Charlie Kirk's internet fury smacking her across the timeline. And get this, Charlie didn't even show up. He launched a remote strike. A hyper-edited, mega-viral clip straight from his own turf. He dismantled Sunny's entire worldview like it owed him money and skipped town. Josh saying he's in trouble didn't even begin to cover it. The clip had everything: rage-fueled music, slow zoom takedowns, flashy infographics, zero subtlety. It was less a response and more a cinematic takedown. Charlie crafted that hit piece like it was an Oscar submission. And the worst part? It worked. Way too well. Sunny got roasted and she wasn't even in the kitchen.
What did it take for us to get to the point of an apology? We had to threaten a lawsuit, Jesse. And by the way, we're still entertaining it. We're talking to some of the best lawyers out there that are experts in this. And as you know, these things can be very complicated. There's a lot of facts and circumstances around it. But we're not going to let this go because you should not be able to smear 5,000 high school and college kids and then just be able to walk away with it. And the reason they felt they needed to do that, Jesse, is because if they told their audience the truth, that when gas is the most expensive it's been, flights are super expensive, that 5,000 kids decided to spend a weekend in summer traveling across the country to go hear from conservative speakers.
This wasn't a critique. It was a public execution with Wi-Fi. Charlie Kirk didn't just go for the jugular. He ripped out the entire system, reassembled it like IKEA furniture, and handed it back with a smug grin and a side of digital fries. And the internet. It devoured every bite. That clip spread faster than high school gossip. Within hours, Twitter was ablaze with headlines like, Charlie Kirk ends daytime delusion. Sunny Hostin gets slapped by reality. Subreddits went feral. Reaction channels swarmed like seagulls at a beach barbecue. It was a full-blown viral feeding frenzy, and The View got eaten alive. That glossy, safe, liberal lounge turned into a panic room. The show felt like a cruise ship in a storm. Nothing stable, everything tilting. The energy was off, way off. And right in the middle of it all, Sunny Hostin. Normally composed, shielded by a law degree and a flawless TV persona. But not this time. She didn't explode. She didn't shout. There was no reality TV meltdown. It was worse. Silent. Defeat. The kind where every blink screams, "What just happened?" Her smile twitched. Her posture glitched. The elite calm? Gone. Her aura? Buffering. You could almost hear the internal monologue. Am I getting ratioed on live television? Meanwhile, Charlie Kirk probably kicked back with a Red Bull under a ring light, watched the chaos unfold from a distance. He didn't need facts. He didn't need fairness. He came to dominate, and he did. If humiliation ever needed a mascot, that clip would be it. Sunny didn't ask for it, but she became the face of it.
A racist myth that is rooted in bigotry, trying to classify people based on their skin color. If you are a racist, you have something to apologize for. If you're a white person who is not a racist, you have nothing to apologize for. And anyone who makes you apologize just based on the color of their skin.
This wasn't a critique. It was a public execution with Wi-Fi. Charlie Kirk didn't just go for the jugular. He ripped out the entire system, reassembled it like IKEA furniture, and handed it back with a smug grin and a side of digital fries. And the internet, it devoured every bite. That clip spread faster than high school gossip. Within hours, Twitter was ablaze with headlines like, "Charlie Kirk ends daytime delusion. Sunny Hostin gets slapped by reality." Subreddits went feral, reaction channels swarmed like seagulls at a beach barbecue. It was a full-blown viral feeding frenzy, and The View got eaten alive. That glossy, safe, liberal lounge turned into a panic room. The show felt like a cruise ship in a storm. Nothing stable, everything tilting. The energy was off, way off. And right in the middle of it all, Sunny Hostin. Normally composed, shielded by a law degree and a flawless TV persona. But not this time. She didn't explode. She didn't shout. There was no reality TV meltdown. It was worse. Silent. Defeat. The kind where every blink screams, "What just happened?" Her smile twitched. Her posture glitched. The elite calm? Gone. Her aura? Buffering. You could almost hear the internal monologue. Am I getting ratioed on live television? Meanwhile, Charlie Kirk probably kicked back with a Red Bull under a ring light, watched the chaos unfold from a distance. He didn't need facts. He didn't need fairness. He came to dominate, and he did. If humiliation ever needed a mascot, that clip would be it. Sunny didn't ask for it, but she became the face of it.
Point conference, were in the front of turning out there in front of the conference with anti-Semitic slurs, and
I think it's important that every single person that attended that turning point, every Republican speak up against the swastikas, against the flags that were waved.
You let them in.
President, open your
You let them in.
Picture this. Sunny Hostin expecting a chill midweek segment, poised for a calm panel discussion. But Charlie Kirk? He flipped the script, turning a routine broadcast into a Category 5 media storm. Now, let's be real. The View team knows drama. They've weathered walk-offs, on-air meltdowns, debates that turned into group therapy. But this was different. No build-up, no warning, just an all-out digital ambush. And the cameras? They captured everything. Every twitch, every desperate glance at the teleprompter like it held the answers to a pop quiz she didn't study for. Her voice, usually sharp and confident, started trembling like a Jenga tower on its last block. She wasn't just thrown off her game. She got caught in the crossfire of a full-blown content war, and Charlie Kirk. He played it like he authored the playbook. The moment the clip aired, his team pounced, churning out reaction. Videos that looped her stumbles into meme fuel. Conservative blogs were celebrating like it was a national holiday. Even Gen Z joined the frenzy, remixing her bewildered expressions into viral dance trends like it was feeding time at the algorithm zoo. Meanwhile, Kirk stood smug at the center of the storm, glowing like a lighthouse in the chaos. To his fans, it wasn't just a media moment. It was a cultural reckoning. Judgment Day for daytime TV.
The point I'll say is this, is Sonny, you guys thought that abortion was going to be this like quasi-zealot religious issue. I'm pro-life. If people in the audience aren't, that's fine. What I'm saying though, what gives me promise, and I think we can all agree on this, is that there are other issues that should animate and drive our politics other than this very divisive one. And I was really encouraged by that, Megan. Very encouraged, because the media was forcing this as an up or down vote on a referendum on a highly complicated, very emotional, very personal issue. And it turned out the American people were like, yeah, actually, these...
Let's be honest. They kind of had a point. Charlie knows exactly how this game works in today's cloud-chasing circus. It's not about truth anymore. It's about who controls the narrative, who stays calm, who hits the biggest emotional nerve, who can slap on a beat, toss in some captions, and hijack the algorithm. And poor Sonny, she never stood a chance. The moment that clip hit the internet, she got out-memed. The web chose its side, and it definitely wasn't hers. This wasn't a debate. It was a meme war. And while Sonny showed up with a well-cited argument, Kirk came in swinging with a flamethrower. Let's be real. What Charlie did wasn't just commentary. It was calculated chaos. He dropped a content bomb so slick it didn't need a response. It needed cleanup. It was smug. It was surgical. It was viral warfare in 4K, dripping with self-righteous swagger fired directly into the heart of the timeline. And that's where Sonny lost. Not in logic, but in optics. And Kirk? He's been in training for this since the MySpace days. When that clip landed, it hit like a drone strike, cutting straight through the image Sonny host had spent years building. An image of intellectual authority, moral clarity, and calm confidence. But none of that mattered once the internet decided. She was this week's digital punching bag.
Welcome back. You know, in Monday's conversation about Turning Point USA, I put the young people at the conference in the same category as the protesters outside. And I don't like it when people make assumptions about me, and it's not any better when I make assumptions about other people, which I did.
This wasn't about her being wrong. It was about how she looked. Shaky, rattled, human. And let's be honest, looking human on live TV in 2025, that's a one-way ticket to going viral for all the wrong reasons. Charlie Kirk didn't win because he out-argued her. He won because he was ruthless, loud, and painfully entertaining. And the internet? It devours that kind of brutality before breakfast. Daytime TV used to be safe, scripted, softly lit, full of polite debate and coffee table calm. But now, it's a battlefield with makeup and commercial breaks. And Sonny walked into it like she was there to sip tea, not survive a digital ambush. No backup, no counterpunch, just her face, slowly unraveling in front of a live audience and millions more watching through unforgiving 4K lenses. One viral moment. That's all it took. She didn't just stumble, she shattered. She went from composed to cracked, from expert to exposed. That wasn't just a slip-up. It was a masterclass in how quickly digital combat can destroy someone's image. It played out like a movie. The surprise attack, the slow collapse, the brutal realization that the cameras never stop. To her credit, she tried. She really did. You could see her fighting to hold it together. But once the internet turns your breakdown into a meme, there's no escape, no edit, just raw footage. And a million people waiting to laugh, clip, and repost you into oblivion.
How do you like the so-called uneducated now, Sonny?
Yeah, and again, by the way, rarely do you get the answer to a question in the question. And her whole question is exactly why there was a rebellion against them. Yes. Listen, just because you didn't go to college doesn't mean you're stupid, and it doesn't mean that you don't have wisdom. I always differentiate between knowledge and wisdom. You can go to college and get a bunch of irrelevant facts about how men can allegedly give birth or whatever they teach. I mean, it's about...
Meanwhile, Charlie Kirk wasn't just taking a victory lap, he was running a full-blown TikTok triathlon. Recaps, reels, smug screenshots, and meme edits flew like confetti. And the media, they did what they always do, chose clicks over context. Suddenly, every outlet had a hot take on Sunny. Her blinking, her silence, her body language, entire think pieces read like she committed a crime with her facial expressions. This wasn't journalism. It was digital cannibalism. Here's the wildest part. Charlie Kirk never even showed up. He humiliated her from another building, maybe another zip code. Pure internet muscle. No stage, no studio, no face-off. And still, he won. The whole thing was a wake-up slap to legacy media, louder than a Florida man screaming into a hurricane. What happened to Sunny wasn't just a bad day. It was the implosion of a media playbook that stopped working. The second memes became stronger than facts. She walked into a TikTok war zone, armed with a pocket constitution and a debate club smile. Kirk came with a flamethrower and a playlist of meme-ready one-liners. And the internet, it feasted like it was Thanksgiving. Because here's the truth. For years, liberal media clung to the cozy myth that truth wins. Stack enough research, throw in some legal jargon, deliver it in a calm, Yale-educated tone, and voila, people would magically rethink their worldview over a cup of chamomile tea. Spoiler, they won't. Not in 2025. Not when most folks will scroll right past a 10-minute policy breakdown to watch a video titled, "Liberal Melts Down After Getting Destroyed by Common Sense." Debate used to be about who had the sharpest argument. Now it's about who can break the internet in 10 seconds or less. If someone turns you into a meme with sad violin music and a freeze frame of your confused face, you've already lost. Doesn't matter how airtight your constitutional comeback was. Charlie Kirk didn't come armed with a stack of policy papers. He brought a digital wrecking ball. And the craziest part? He didn't even need to be in the room. It was like watching someone drop into a boxing ring by drone, detonate the place, and sip something smug from a podcast studio while the dust settled.
From the ladies of The View to Turning Point USA, a war of words broke out after the conservative group was rallying the next generation of voters at its youth summit in Tampa, Florida this weekend. And the liberal panel just couldn't help themselves. The group sent a scathing cease and desist letter after hosts on The View suggested that Turning Point had embraced.
Meanwhile, Sunny Hostin was left sitting in the rubble, blinking like someone who just realized their polished resume means nothing in the face of meme warfare. All those law degrees, TV appearances, it doesn't matter. The algorithm doesn't care. And here's the real kicker. The liberal media still hasn't figured out how to play this new game. They're stuck in 2010, sipping oat milk lattes, hoping calm reasoning will save the day. But this isn't a courtroom, it's a circus. When you show up with facts and etiquette while the other guy's juggling fireballs and yelling into a megaphone, guess who the crowd is watching? Sunny's reputation took a harder hit than a politician, caught on a hot mic. Not because she was wrong, but because this battle was never about facts. It was all about spectacle. Charlie's cracked the code. He turns every opponent into a headline, a meme, and a merch drop before they can even finish their sentence. This was never about truth. It was optics. Sunny looked rattled, cornered, and in today's game, looking defeated is 10 times worse than actually losing. The internet doesn't care who's right. It runs on vibes. Right now, the vibe is that she got steamrolled by a guy who probably practices his one-liners in the mirror next to a tub of protein powder.
Turning Point USA hosted a riveting event in Tampa, Florida called the Student Action Summit. Outside of the event were individuals waving flags and engaged in other activities. Well, on Monday's show, members of The View made a few comments about it.
The conservative group Turning Point USA has condemned the group of neo and said they have nothing to do with the organization.
Yeah, but where was DeSantis? Is what I'm about.
But you let.
And the worst part? That clip didn't just disappear. It morphed into a whole ecosystem. TikTok edits, YouTube reaction breakdowns, reels littered with clown emojis, and influencers who probably think Karl Marx is a Fortnite skin all tossing in their 2 cents. It's been remixed more times than a Drake track, and none of it's helping her. Sunny's polished TV persona shattered. Those broken pieces are now stitched, duetted, and monetized by people who wouldn't know due process if it slid into their DMs. Here's the harsh reality. Image is currency. Once a public figure flinches, the vultures don't hesitate. They start live streaming the fallout with clickbait titles and snarky commentary. Maybe the traditional TV audience will forgive her, maybe. But in the wild, unforgiving streets of digital media, poise and a legal background won't cut it. This is the gladiator pit now. You either control the narrative, or you become content for someone else's channel. And right now, Sunny's face is the thumbnail. She's going to need a whole new playbook, one that doesn't pretend people are tuning in for truth or justice, but acknowledges they're here for chaos, drama, and whatever clip hits 1 million views before lunch. Sunny's breakdown wasn't loud or a meltdown. It wasn't a meme-worthy scream. It was worse. It was real. And in this digital circus, realness is the ultimate vulnerability. She didn't lash out. She just cracked. And the internet pounced. Because even if you don't want to join the circus, it will find you. And once it does, you better learn to juggle and dance, or become someone else's content.
About the fact that there were openly demonstrators outside the Florida Student Action Summit of the Turning Point USA group. We want to make clear that these demonstrators were gathered outside the event and that they were not invited or endorsed by Turning Point USA. A Turning Point USA spokesman said the group, quote, 100% condemns those ideologies, and said Turning Point USA security tried to remove the neo-Nazis from the area but could not because they were on public property. Also, Turning Point USA wanted us to clarify that this was a Turning Point USA summit and not a Republican Party event. So we apologize for anything we said that may have been unclear.
Here lies Sunny Hostin's media rep, singed, maimed, and stuck on repeat. Once a polished, untouchable voice, now trapped in a blink loop, endlessly shared, edited, and remixed by the very machine she thought she could outsmart. And Charlie Kirk? He's already moved on, targeting his next victim, grinning from his digital throne like a villain who never even broke a sweat. Will Sunny bounce back? Probably. But the internet never forgets. And that kind of viral humiliation is always just one clip away. If you made it this far, smash that like, hit subscribe, and drop your thoughts below. Trust me, the next takedown is coming fast. Don't blink.